and his two children, Clint and Christy, who join us today on Sports Sunday. Clint, Christy, we really appreciate your time. So sorry, obviously, for the loss of your great father. I would imagine, though, I know you're in the Hunter at Mum and Dad's home right now. You've had a real chance to reflect and look back on what was an amazing life.
Yeah, Brace, thanks for having us. It was a sensational life. Geez, he crammed some into it, and he's probably had as many lives as a cat too. Don't worry, but I'm glad he didn't give up in the darkness. You know, when he had his accident, he had a chance to do that, and he was a daily source of inspiration for me and my sister, and he's going to be sorely missed, but. It's an opportunity to look back and smile and laugh and often scratch your head in disbelief about some of the things that that he was capable of doing. And he was a giant of a man. And as I've said quite publicly, he was my king of the jungle, and no doubt same for Christy.
Christy, when you look back on his life, one thing to be a great golfer and push very deep into two of the majors in the Masters and the British Open. But then after his career, after the accident, it always seems to have been Christy wanting to give back and inspire the next generation. And there's some right now on the lucrative USPGA Tour who he had a massive influence on.
Yeah, and look, he was never really about necessarily turning professional either. I think he always believed that the game of golf gave kids, you know, all those things that you need to be a good person when you sort of turn 18 and move out of home and all those kinds of things. So I feel like, you know, not only is his legacy those guys that did turn pro, but also, you know, all the kids, you know, instilling. He always said that, you know, he wanted to instill honesty, you know, integrity, you know, they were all the things, and that was him, you know, like he was very passionate about that. So I think it's sort of transcended golf itself to become something that teaches kids all about what they need to bring to their life to make a good life.
You're a champion golfer, Christy, in your own right. So how early did he get a club into your hand?
Well, there's a few pictures floating around at the moment, but yeah, I was pretty young. I think I was just walking maybe, and I was hitting balls with him on the range in some tournaments. But I didn't really learn to play till I was a bit older. But Dad didn't want to teach me because we clashed a little bit. but he did in the end. He did in the end coach me because obviously I couldn't learn from anyone better.
Clint, you spoke of the accident, and you go back to 1983 and losing an arm, the sight in one eye. Not only did he fight through that, survive, then he goes on to play golf with one arm as well. And there's some great photos you mentioned doing the rounds at the moment too of him with the ciggy hanging out of his mouth, having a swing, and that was the part of the character that he was. And it became an icon not only on the back of the golf, but I guess how he came through that and turned a negative into such a positive.
Yeah, I think really, you know, Dad was just uncompromising. He was courageous. He was incredibly resilient, but most of all, he was authentic. And I think that's how he was able to connect with so many people. You know, whether it was the royal family or Bob Hawke or, you know, prime ministers or the local bloke at the pub. He was able to connect with them, and I think that's what his legacy is. And I think that's where we've seen such an outpouring of condolences and tributes in recognition of how he made people feel. And I think that, you know, my sister and I, and our family have often thought about his accident. We don't see it as a negative because you can't dwell on the past, and you've got to move forward, and Dad was always about that, and we're very lucky that he didn't give up. He had an opportunity when he was walking through hell to stop and let it burn him to the ground, but he didn't. He kept walking, and we have had a great life because he didn't give up. And that's something that you can only look at it in that way. We may not have had as many times with him and shared as many memories, and if he had been on tour. And his legacy moved from what he was trying to acquire as a golfer to what could he contribute to the community. And that's something that we're incredibly proud of.
Clint, Christy, I can only imagine how tough the week has been. Thank you so much for sharing your memories of your late dad, Jack, and please, of course, pass on our best from the whole wide world of sports family to Mum Jackie as well.
Yeah, thanks, Brace. And I just wanted to say in closing, on behalf of my mum, my sister, me, and the Newton family, we just want to say thank you to everyone. The well-wishes and the tributes and the condolences and the genuine care that people have shown. You know, guys like Joey and Gus and everyone all around the world having something to say about our dad, the guy that we loved, and it blows you away. And we just want to say thank you to everyone, and that's a big reason why we've come on today. Yep. Because those stories and those tributes, it means a great deal to us, and we just want to say thanks to everyone.
Yeah, he's a legend.
Thanks so much to everyone. We really appreciate it. We're blown away. Yeah.
Good on you, Christy. Good on you, Clint. Thanks so much for joining us today. Beautiful words.
Great Novocastrian, great Australian. We lost another icon of Australian sport during the week. Did so much for charity and junior sport through his, junior golf through his foundation. Raised over $3 million for diabetes and junior golf, but he loved his family. Him and his wife, Jackie, were just the nicest couple and adored his kids, Clint and Christy and their kids. Now, I've asked Clint, could I tell a funny story about Jackie? He said, go ahead. So Jack, back in the day, loved the Knights. So after the games, we used to go and dissect the game, what was good, what was bad. And he helped me out with my goal kicking. Obviously, stuff, little triggers like what you do with your putting and everything, which was really good. But then after one game, he's there and he started talking to me about my defence and my tackling. And I just said out loud, without even thinking, which he loved. He loved this story. And I said, well, what would you know about tackling? And I went, well, you tackle the aeroplane propeller, so you must know a bit about defence. And he loved the story. But you know what? You wouldn't meet a greater guy, a great friend, a real knockabout larrikin Australian, and we really missed.
Yeah,
he was such a great friend.
Yeah, and we are, of course, sending...
Could tackle.
Could tackle.
Yeah.